Hey, welcome back to the Black Investors Podcast. This is your boy Courtney.
Z Ross here. What's going on?
And we got our special guest, J.R. Fenwick, in today. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. How y'all doing?
You
Doing
well?
great. And so we spoke about this before, but JR is going to be every third Thursday. JR is going to be on. So if you want any stock information, tune in and you'll get what you need. And you can also put questions on any of the platforms or DM us personally, and he'll answer some questions that you have.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And before we get started, we just want to give a quick disclaimer that the Black Investors Podcast and our guests are not licensed educators. So please make sure you do your own homework and due diligence on stock tips. This is just for educational purposes only. Please, again, go do your own research and consult with a certified financial advisor. All right. So we're doing good today. JR, you said you been getting a lot of phone calls today. People think, Margaret, what's going on?
Man, people, it's interesting because I think a lot of people don't understand really, again, how the market works. And what I mean by that is if they turn on the news and they see, oh man, the market, like all over the market today, the market's down for 5 days in a row. It's hasn't slid like this since I think they said October of last year. That people are panicking, and so they just assume everybody's losing money, right? Yeah. It's just that assumption. And when the market's going up, there's assumption that everybody's making money, right? And that's just absolutely not true. It really depends on what your strategy is. Are you a trader? Are you an investor? So investors are people who buy and hold shares of stock for technically 1 year and 1 day. So 1 year is 365 days plus 1 day. So if they hold it for 366 days, they're deemed an investor. So and then anybody less than that is a trader, buying and selling less than a year in 1 day.
Good.
So it depends on your strategy and what's going on and what your risk tolerance is too.
So quick question. When you read an article and it says the S&P slid for 5 days straight, just in layman's term, because this is our market minute topic for today. Okay. The market minute is the S&P slid for 5 days straight. What does that mean?
Okay.
Slides for 5 days. Like somebody just starting on, what does that even mean?
Yeah. So think of it this way. S&P 500. That is, let me break it down to you like this. When you go to a doctor, like I call myself the king of analogy. So here's the analogy. When you go to the doctor and they'll take your blood pressure, they'll take your weight, they'll take your temperature, right? Typically the nurse or the medical tech will take that even before you see the doctor. And those are just three main indicators of your overall health, right? And so the stock market has different indicators, and the S&P 500 is one of the indicators of the overall health of the stock market. And S&P stands for Standard & Poor's, and 500 means that there are 500 stocks in this bucket, if you will, in this basket that they're looking at. And they have a formula where they kind of use this to see overall, how are these stocks performing? And overall, if they're performing well, then they say, oh man, the S&P is going up. And overall, if they're not doing well, the S&P is going down. And there's certain stocks in the S&P 500 that are bigger companies than other ones, so they may weigh more to make it go up or down, right? But overall, just in general layman's terms, there's 500 stocks that they're watching, and they're using that to say, how's the overall health of the stock market doing, going up or going down? So that's
you broke that down. So can you break down a Dow Jones then? What's the difference?
Yeah. So remember, I'm going to go back to the example of the doctor. We talked about three things. You talked about blood pressure, your temperature, and your weight. Those are three indicators they use. All right. So the main three indicators for the stock market are the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones. Now, the Dow Jones is like a bucket that holds 30 companies. It only holds 30 companies. But these companies are ginormous. They're like the biggest companies on the stock market. And so I always use the analogy, it was like an elephant. If you had a swimming pool in your backyard and one of these Dow Jones 30 companies was an elephant that got in your pool, the water is going to go up. If it gets out of the pool, the water is going to go down. So as these stocks in the Dow Jones go up, they can pull the whole stock market up because they're so big, like an elephant. And if they go down in price, they can pull the whole stock market down. So
we might have to start calling you K.A. Fenwick for King Analogy Fenwick.
I like it.
I like that one, man. I saw that so clear of the elephant going in, like you said, it weighs so much. It affects the entire pool. I love that.
That's one of that's kind of our secret sauce. It's just we can take all these so-called complex stuff and just break it down into everyday terms that we can understand, and that helps us get over the fear. Once we get over the fear, now we can start getting involved in what is arguably the greatest or one of the two greatest wealth creators ever known to man, which is the stock market.
So can you break down the NASDAQ now, since you explained the other two?
Yeah. Okay. So the NASDAQ is just another, think of each of these as a bucket. S&P 500 has 500 stocks. Dow has 30. And the NASDAQ has about 3,000 or 4,000 companies that are in it. A lot of them are tech type companies. And that's just another indicator that they look at to see how the stock market is going for a particular group of stocks. But when you turn on the news and they just say, oh, the stock market's going through the roof, is going up, they're usually referring to the Dow, unless they say the S&P 500 slid, or unless they say the NASDAQ. If they just say the stock market's up overall, they're talking about the Dow. If they say the stock market's down overall, they're talking about the Dow, which again is that bucket with 30 companies in it. But they're huge. So
they're the big players.
Yep. So now we know the three main indicators in the stock market. We know the Dow 30, we know the NASDAQ, and we know the S&P 500. And the funny thing is, I always ask when I'm doing seminars and I talk about this, I say, now what I just explained to you, is there anything complicated about that? Yeah. Right. But if we didn't know, like, have it broken down like that, and a lot of times they don't break it down like that, they just make it so doggone complicated. But it's that simple. It really is that simple.
They use all that type of that jargon that gets us all confused and like, what? And that just discourages. Now I don't even care no more.
Yep.
Ask you this, Jeff. I've always thought this. Do you think they do that intentionally to keep people out?
I do, because now that I've been in the stock market and learned all this stuff, I'm like, this stuff don't have to be that complicated. Some of the names that they make up and the formulas and this, I think it's done for a couple reasons. All right. So one is, keep, in my opinion, keep certain groups of people out and say, hey, you don't need to be in this. Or if you are going to get in it, this is really complicated. Just give us your money and let us take care of it. Right. Now, the problem with that is if you make money, you still don't know what they did to make the money. And if you lose money, you lost twice because you paid them to lose money. So I'm always an advocate of learning exactly, at the very least the basics, but really even more of that. Now, the second thing is, check this out. This is crazy. So I want your viewers to pay attention to this. There's only three things a stock can do. That's go up in price, go down in price, or go sideways. Okay. But let's say that you guys are going to come at me with $5 million a piece. And you say, JR, we want you to, and let's say I'm a licensed broker. I'm not, but let's say that I were. And you come to me and Courtney, you got 5 million, and Aziz, you're bringing 5 million. You say, hey, I want you to invest this as best you can and get me a return. Well, I can't just say to you, well, hey, fellas, either it's going to go up, down, or sideways. If it goes, we make some money. So I got to come and say, the square root of this and that and blah, 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 and give you some long formula to justify like I really know. But at the end of the day, either it's going to go up, down, or sideways. Now, I'm not trying to minimize brokers and professionals and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it is either it's going to go up, down, or sideways. And depending on the position you have in the strategy, depends on whether you make money or not. So,
I do think they kept it like that on purpose. I think it was needed though sometimes too, because anything with an easy entry level, it kind of
Well,
dilutes the product. It makes it not what's the word? Not as strong or prevalent. So
yeah,
I'm not mad at it, but as we get with technology, it is getting easier to understand. Now, for me
yeah,
personally, I have people who do like swing trading and they
right,
do other types of techniques. And me personally, I can't really explain to them the type of trader that I am versus
right.
what they are. So can you explain to us the different type of traders
Yeah,
that are out there and like kind of how they pair with people
sure.
personality a little?
So yeah. So again, we'll start with investors. Now, investors meaning trying to get my hands here in the screen. That's long term, right? They a year or longer, and they're looking down the road, maybe retirement, college, payment for kids, vacation, buying a vacation home, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Anything shorter than a year, you're deemed or called a trader. But even there's certain types of traders. So if you buy and you hold shares for several months, right? You may buy a share and say, I think this stock is going to go up or down in several months. Then you're called an intermediate trader. So intermediate means several months. If you buy and you're holding shares of stock for, say, uh, a few days to a few weeks, you're called a swing trader. Okay, just swinging short period of time. If you're buying and selling shares of stock in the same day, you're called a day trader. And so you have day trading, swing trading, intermediate trading, and then you have investing.
Okay, so
And you want to, a lot of times, trading just really matches up with your personality, right? So, for example, I like being able to go into the market, and my nickname for the market is the ATM machine. I like being able to go into the market, and if I want to pull out 50, 100, 1,000, or 20 in a day, and Courtney and Aziz, you know what I do, and see me do it. We're usually doing it less than 15 minutes. In and out, grab, boom, and go on with our day. I like having that skill set. Now, but some people may say, "Oh, that's just too quick for me." I just because we're making quick decisions. To me, it's fun. It's like I like being able to look at it, see an opportunity, boom, get in, grab, get out. Another person may be like, that's just too
too
much.
risky.
Too risky, too risky. Even though they don't understand, and you guys have seen it, we minimize. I mean, we protect ourselves. We know how to measure our risk before we go into things like that. But most people, they don't understand it, and so now if you go from that all the way to investors are going to buy, and they kind of just set it and forget it, and you know, the hope is that and the skill is that it will go up over time, right?
Like how we treat
And
our 401ks and retirement plans like that.
exactly, exactly. And there's
That's
always
why
this debate
I was gonna
saying
say that's
that
why it's important to have you on here because when we first met, I told you that I didn't want to have anything to do with stocks.
yep, yep,
Complicated. You hear about I need to buy Apple, I need to buy this, and there's just so much misinformation out there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, people, and that's why I really applaud you guys for having this series because people, and in particular our people, we just don't know. We hear these things like I was at a conference and I was talking to a friend, and this lady walks up and she knew my friend, and then she asked, what I did, and I said, I own Flip That Stock. We teach beginners how to trade and invest. And immediately the first thing out of her mouth, oh, you're gonna lose all your money. You're gonna it's like so clear. I can tell within 60 seconds, within 30 seconds of people opening their mouth, whether they know what they're talking about or not. And clearly she
Why
wasn't
do you think
educated.
why do you think people say that? Do you think it's from experiences, past experiences, maybe a couple of some bad apples spoiled it for the whole bunch?
I
What's
think
your take
I
on it?
think I think a lot of people have heard I had a friend who, right? So I was talking to a person not too long ago. I was actually on a radio interview, and a caller called in and said, investing is cool, but trading is gambling. And I said, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, I had a friend and they made all this money back in 2008, But when the market crashed, they lost all this money when the markets crashed. I said, well, clearly they didn't know how to make money when the stock goes down, because you can make money when the stock goes up and you can make money when the stock goes down. So they clearly must not have known that. I don't know what kind of traders they were. Were they swing trading? Were they intermediate trading? You know, I don't know. But I know that just because the market goes down doesn't mean everybody's losing their money. As a matter of fact, some of the biggest gains in the tune of billions have been made when the markets crash, because people know how to do something that's called shorting a stock, which means making money when the stock goes down. And there's a great movie out called The Big Short, and it talks about this guy who shorted the real estate market when it crashed and made billions. Billions. But everybody's like, oh man, everybody's going broke. And a lot of people were. But there's always people behind the curtain who have different strategies. And if you don't know about it, you know, most people, if I went in, I said, you know what, you can make money when the stock is crashing. Oh, no, you can't. That don't even sound legal. That don't sound legal, right? They don't know. Yeah. And they're not willing to learn. So I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to argue with you. If you want to learn, then I teach. But, you know, like Michael Jordan has this saying. He said, you reach, I teach. If you reach, I teach, if you want to know. But don't come at me like you're an expert going to tell me somebody's been doing it for 20 years. Oh, you're just going to lose all your money. Yeah, so.
And that's why we brought you on. And that's why we do what we do. Because it's like, you know, I was telling a young man this the other day that I mentor that it's not that our people lack the intelligence. It's that certain things that we're not taught, or we have misconceptions that other people lead us to, or that we about, which basically handicaps us. And that's why we're still at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to building wealth.
Yeah, and we're not exposed. You think about it. When you grew up, we probably all had a playground with a basketball court, so we're exposed to that, right? We probably all had radios, and back then record players or whatever it was, so we were exposed to great music and all that. So sports, entertainment, we're exposed to those things day in and day out. But how many in our community sat around the dinner table and talked about the stock market?
I don't know.
So we're not exposed to that. So whether you know, my father and mother were a doctor and a nurse, and we didn't sit around the table talk about the stock market, but I was out playing ball. I was listening to music back then. I was playing the guitar, you know, all that stuff. So a lot of it's about exposure, and this is a great vehicle now that you guys have for us to expose and get the truth, you know, so we can be educated and then get in the game.
Yeah, because I had an uncle that compared the Black communities, like the ghetto, the area, as a vicious tornado, you know. And if one of us don't go in and grab someone out, they're going to continue to repeat the cycle. They're living in their grandmother's house, their mother's living in that house.
Yeah.
Someone don't pull that child out or expose that person to a different level of life, they're going to continue to do. You do what you do. You know, you can't fix what you don't know. And unfortunately, like you guys are both alluding to, it's exposure that our community lack. It's not intelligence. It's not the lack of wanting or it is just exposure. The box that we were put in. Now
once we're exposed,
we have to. Now you know.
We got to do something. A mentor of mine years ago hit me with these terms, man. He said, you're either inculpably ignorant or culpably ignorant, right? Now, he wasn't saying me, but he was referring to a group, right? And when he broke it down, I was like, man, he's right. So inculpably ignorant means you just don't know. Like, we weren't exposed to it. We just don't know. But after somebody watches your podcast and these series of discussions that we have, and they still decide not to do something, now you're culpably ignorant because you know what the truth is. You know what the deal is. And you still are deciding, you know what? Nah, I just want to go and buy the rims, go to the concerts, not invest, and then complain about why I'm not where I want to be. Right.
Other folks hold them down.
So we're either on one side or we either inculpably ignorant, but your show is helping bridge people over to the other side of
We
not being.
fortunate enough to get exposed, have
That's right.
exposed. Now, what they say, when you have been blessed to have the experience, you can't hoard that in. You have to share. You have to share. That's what we are here for, and that's what we like you to have come on the podcast and share, because it's so it's a lot of information with technology that could be, again, too much information sometimes is bad.
Right.
So we're trying to help, even the playing field, because some people are on here saying, hey, you can get rich quick, 5 minutes, pay me 10,000 today. Right. And there's others that actually have a resume and actually have something, a track record to look back on and say, this is what I've done to help people, and this is what I'm going to continue to do.
Right.
So we both appreciate you coming on here.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And it's like, because I talk to a lot of people, as you know, JR, about your program, and say, this is the cost of it. I won't get into that. I'll let you talk about it if you choose to. But they're like, oh, well, I can't do this, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe, again, it's about just what we're talking about, because if I say you can invest this amount of money, you can make money over a lifetime, are you really investing anything? You're putting some money aside so you can learn a skill that you can make money for the rest of your life and teach your kids how to do it.
Next time somebody says something and you're discussing the cost, and it's an investment, right? So you're investing in yourself in education, right? And so it's funny, we're always taught, most people taught, go to college, and college nowadays, the average price is $30,000 to $50,000 per year. So if you drop out after a freshman year, what skill do you have? If you don't go all the way to getting your degree, and even when you get your degree, a lot of these degrees are worthless, and you 100, 200,000 in debt, right? But you don't get a lot of blowback if you say, hey, I'm taking out a loan to go to college. But check this out. I was doing a seminar somewhere, and somebody brought the price up. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. What's your favorite car? All right. And they said a Ferrari. And I said, what if I told you tomorrow you could have this Ferrari for $3,000? But you don't have the money now. Would you have it? Oh, hell yeah. What? Hell yeah. I'm going to have that. You see what I'm saying?
Good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
So
now,
that's KA for you.
Yeah. Now you got the Ferrari, right? Is that a asset producing income? Is that a skill set you can use the rest of your life? Or my good friend, you guys may be familiar with Willie Jolly, right? He's one of the top motivational speakers in the world. And Willie, he sent me a picture of a picture, right? I wish I had this, a picture of a picture. So in this picture of a picture, he's standing next to a Tesla, brand new Tesla, right? This is several years ago. And so he texts me this picture, and underneath he's like, call me. Right? So I call him, and he said, ask me how I got the Tesla. I said, and he and his wife were part of my program. And he said, I used the profits from my stocks to pay for it cash. I said, come on, brother. Come on now. Come on. So that's what people who make money, they like to get asset producing or cash producing assets that can pay for the stuff they want, right? And when you start kind of thinking like that, it can really be a game changer.
That's how you get out the rat race.
Yeah. So, it's all in. I hear people say all kind of stuff. I had one person, good friend, and they called me up, and man, I got to learn this flipping. I'm ready, baby. I got to learn this flipping the stocks. And I said, okay, here's our mentorship program. Here's what you get. And you start scrunching your face, and and your neck get all tight, right? But here's the crazy part. I was on Facebook, and they posted 2 front row seat tickets to Beyonce.
Hmm.
Over $2,000.
Hey, come on.
Now let me break this down. Let me break it. If I may, my brothers, can I break this down?
Break it down, brother.
Okay. 2,000. It was actually closer to 3,000. $3,000. 4 hours of entertainment. Great entertainment. I don't have nothing against Beyonce or Jay-Z. Great concert. The stadium is packed and sold out. Beyonce and Jay-Z taking all that money, going to their investment advisors, one of which is Warren Buffett, and growing that. And we walk away from the concert. We got a new dress, a new suit on, new shoes. We don't been to dinner. We got a limo. And we come back and say, "Ooh, I got to work some extra hours to pay for that, get that off my credit card. Now I'm in debt." Beyonce and Jay-Z taking that money and investing it in, grow. So it's all about how we think and what we do. And we've all made that unwise decision. I've done it. I mean, we all do it if we're being honest, but it's all about the transition. Are we transitioning into thinking different and acting different? So price is really never the issue. Mindset is the issue.
Always.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why we got you on, and that's what we do. Change people's mindset.
Mindset is the biggest piece. Our very first episode was on mindset. It's we can't promote Black investors and have you out there without shifting your mindset.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you ended. We can end it off with that. I do want to just reiterate one thing that you said for our listeners and viewers. We have some homework for you. Go watch The Big Short if you haven't already.
Oh, man.
If you are a listener and a viewer of our podcast, The Big Short is like the Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad book. It's one of those ones you have to have in your arsenal to know that, oh, you have seen that. I saw that, because a lot of different gems and analogies that you can get out of that, out of these great.
And you got to pay attention to it too. It might be it might start off a little slow, but you got to just pay attention and commit to watching the whole thing. I would say commit to watching the whole movie in one setting. You don't want to, I watch 20 minutes. You really, because as it builds up, you're going to see what, man, these.
For us who are like I was graduating high school around that time, we didn't really know what's going on. The Big Short explained it. So broke it down so beautifully, and that helped me out. And I was in banking, and I wasn't understanding all these bills that came after 2008.
Right.
I'm like, I'm standard disclosure, but I don't know how we got into the position now that I have to do this. And so when I watched Big Short, I was like, oh, it tied up a lot of loose ends, at least for me. So that's the homework that we're going to leave for our viewers today.
We'll get one more too. The Wolf of Wall Street.
The Wolf of Wall Street. There's some classic movies out there. And maybe next time I come on, I'll bring a list. And maybe every month we just let your listening audience just check one of these movies out, because there's some classics that you got to see, and you start understanding that some of it might be a little sensationalized, but a lot of it is not. A lot of it is really what's happening, and so then you can take that. Like, for example, you can take The Big Short and you watch that, and you're like, wait a minute, they made money when the housing market crashed. And if you go to my site, teachmetoflipstocks.com, and on there I have a free 8-minute course that explains flipping. Then it's going to show you an example of a stock flip, but it's going to show you an example of a stock flip where the stock went down and I made money. So now The Big Short, now you watch this 8-minute video clip explaining the stock market, and then you see an example of money being made, and it's crazy because it doesn't make sense when you look at this. Like, wait, this thing is plummeting. So as it's going down, you're seeing the profit go up, and people like that. It took me 4 months to grasp this concept. That don't make sense. But I didn't sit up there talking about, oh, this ain't legal. I know this. No, I know these boys on Wall Street are doing all kinds of stuff. So what I said was, I got to learn it. I got to learn it, And so, yeah.
Before we get off, give out, how people can find you. And like I said, he'll be on here every third Thursday of the month.
Okay.
But we want you
And
to
anything else you got coming up? Any more seminars? I know you just had one in Atlanta. So anything else you got coming up? This is the time to, as we wrap it up, we want to highlight things that you have coming up so people can support you.
So a couple of things. I'll make a couple announcements, a couple of quick announcements. We went to Atlanta, man. It was off the charts. It was off the charts. We had a ball and we're going back. And I guess I can make the announcement here. We haven't picked a date, but I'm coming to Houston. I'm coming to H-Town. H-Town, and we're gonna do it up. We are gonna do it up. And then I'm doing something that I never did before. Prior to COVID, I had a national tour going on, and we picked the cities that we were going to. I'm actually gonna put out like once a month a survey or questionnaire. Where do you want me to come? And whatever city gets the most responses, that's where I'm going to go and do live presentations. So now everybody can participate. And we just right. And just having fun. But until then,
we'll pop that up. We'll push that out so they can send us the message on their survey what they think where you should come, and we'll pass it along.
For sure. Leave us a comment. Leave us a comment section where you would like to see JR bring his knowledge and his analogies with him. He got a bag.
We're gonna have some fun. Trust and believe. This ain't gonna be like any seminar you've ever been to. I can tell you that.
Whenever I talk about the class that I'm in, I tell my friends, I say, a lot of people are smart. We got a lot of smart people around. Can you convey that smartness to the next person? That is a skill set.
Right.
Educator is a skill set. You got a lot of people that's smart, and it's like a pastor. A lot of pastors out here, but everybody can't convey that Bible or that word the same way.
Right.
And that's how I related to my friends. I'm like, because I have friends that's in this, and why you didn't choose me? Why this? I'm like, I like to learn from teachers who give me analogies that I could understand in my simple in my lane. I'm not too far to the left. I'm not in the slow lane, but I'm not in that fast lane.
Right.
I like so that's how I like, and you presented to me and packaged in a way that I accepted it. So that's how I tell people it's the educator. I'm not saying some person got more knowledge than other, but how you relay it to me, I pick up on it. I'm learning. I'm making money. When I lose, I jot it down like you tell me to.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it. Ross, what you got going on? Anything coming on? You got?
No, we'll be waiting for JR to come out to Houston. We'll host him. Got the book. I have another book coming out here soon. That's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it right now.
All right. What I got going on, a lot of people have been hitting me up moving to Houston, so I'm still a licensed realtor out here. So if you are interested, let me know. I had 3 people this week contact me about Airbnbs or long-term rentals here in Houston. Because other areas are too saturated. Yeah. So let me know. And I tell people
going on.
Texas is popping right now. President Biden, he just gave Samsung a $6.5 billion grant to build a chip manufacturer here in Texas. So I tell you, man, Texas is booming. So if you're thinking about investing in real estate, contact me. I would love to help you out.
Yeah. And those are the three big wealth creators: real estate, owning a business, and stock market, not in any particular order. And it's so interesting that, and this could another topic, comparing real estate to investing, not that one's better than the other, but really you should be in both and keep open mind to both. But we just, we all understand at least real estate from the standpoint that we got to live somewhere. So we kind of get that. But there's that stock market where I don't know. And so, like I said, when I come to Houston, they're gonna think an earthquake hit because look, we're gonna shake it up. We are definitely gonna shake it up. So we got to get together and get our date locked down. I'm very excited about coming down now. So
definitely.
Yep.
We appreciate you coming on as always. And thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Please let us know how you felt about this episode. Remember, it's 2 things that we're going to stay, and that's Black
investors. Peace.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, JR.
Mhm.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. On training, live training.
That's right.
All right. Take care.
All right, later.